honest day's work with honest wages, and that's why we should raise the minimum wage to $9 an hour and make it a wage you can live on.
Here with me, political science professor Jason Johnson and political analyst Amy Holmes. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Morning.
All right, I know you
Pleasure.
both are on different sides of the aisle, so this is going to be nice and juicy. First of all, let's talk about raising the minimum wage. It can help families in many cases, but what are the political risks, Jason?
Look, the political risks are it's very difficult to do, and Barack Obama hasn't explained how businesses are going to be able to afford raising the minimum wage. I've said this before. Raising the minimum wage in theory is fine, but if you don't also bolster it with halfway decent health care or doing something about gas prices, who cares if I make $9 an hour if I'm paying $4 for a gallon of gas? So it's a nice start, but I think Obama has to do a lot more if he really wants to serve poor people in this country rather than just saying I'm going to give you more money.
And Amy, I can almost hear some of the small business owners screaming, $9 an hour is going to kill my business. What's your take on all of this?
Well, minimum wage tends to be one of those things that's a crowd pleaser, but if you actually look at the impact that minimum wage has, it's pretty well agreed across the aisle that minimum wage actually creates joblessness among the unskilled workers that it's supposed to help. In fact, if you look at black teen unemployment, for example, it's 37.8%, and economists at Miami University and Trinity found that in 21 states that increased the minimum wage, the biggest impact was on black teen unemployment, driving that up at a level that was actually worse than unemployment during the Great Recession. So unfortunately, it sounds good, but it has bad effects. But you know what, Natasha, politically, it ends up getting Republican votes because Republicans do not want to have to go out into the, into the political marketplace and tell people, getting $9 an hour isn't fair to you because, people do want folks to be able to have a living wage.
It's a touchy issue. You think about Mitt Romney, too, back at how that went over his whole comment about the percentage points. You're shaking your head.
Look, raising the minimum wage doesn't automatically put people out of work. You've got tons of Fortune 500 companies in this country that have hundreds of billions of dollars that they're sitting on that they haven't invested. The issue is raising minimum wage alone doesn't pull people out of poverty. That's the issue. If they raise minimum wage to $9 an hour, maybe people are making about $18,000 a year. $18,000 a year is still not going to help you to have a house, keep a car, and take care of a kid who gets sick. So again, it's one part of serving poverty. It's not the whole issue.
Okay, so I told you guys they disagree on this. Let's move on to the next point. It's been a really rocky confirmation process for Chuck Hagel, the defense secretary nominee. Some Republicans, some say that they're stalling against the defense secretary, well, to be possibly. Amy, what's the holdup? What's it going to take to move this forward, do you think?
Well, Lindsey Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, he put a hold on because he wanted to get more answers about Benghazi from the White House. And you know what? It worked. The White House wrote a letter this week informing the senators that the president did not call the Libyan president on September 11th of last year of that attack on our embassy. So this sort of political gambit did end up getting results. But Lindsey Graham himself has said that when they return from this President's Day break, that he will vote to move for cloture. It's a Senate procedural move, and Chuck Hagel's nomination will then go to the Senate floor, and very likely he'll get confirmed. There are 55 Democrats. He only needs 51, so he'll become our next defense secretary.
But he's definitely been a controversial nominee. Jason Johnson ready to he's chomping at the bit to say something.
Here's the issue. It's like Chuck Hagel, the liberals want to keep him, the Republicans don't want to have him. The reality is the president has made a selection and he should move through. I think this is really the Republicans just fighting the 2012 election over, and it's absolutely unnecessary. The guy's going to get through. This is a waste of our political time and political capital.
Listen, I think that the president should be able to have cabinet members who reflect his views, but I also think that the public has, certainly has the right to hear what those views are.
Exactly.
And in Chuck Hagel's confirmation hearing, he bumbled, he stumbled, he fumbled. Even Democrats were frankly bewildered by his performance, but I think it was certainly useful in terms of politics to understand where our next Secretary of Defense is coming from politically.
Amy Holmes and Jason Johnson, we're going to have to leave it there, guys, but thanks so much.
Thank you.
I told you it's going to be juicy. Actor Morris Chestnut.